POV. You give everyone grace, except yourself. You would never say to a friend what you say to yourself on a bad day. Not even close. If a friend called you voice cracking because they failed at something, missed a deadline, said the wrong thing, fell apart when they were really trying not to, you'd know exactly what to say. That happens to everyone. You're being so hard on yourself. One bad moment doesn't define you. You're doing better than you think. And you wouldn't just say it, you'd mean it, down to the last word. And you'd keep saying it until they actually believed it. But when it's you, when you're the one who missed the deadline, said the wrong thing, fell apart when you were trying so hard not to, the voice that shows up sounds nothing like that. It doesn't wait. It doesn't ask what happened. It doesn't wonder if you were tired, overwhelmed, stretched thin, doing the best you could with what you had that day. It just arrives, immediately, loudly, certain. Of course you messed that up. Why do you always do this? You should have known better. Everyone else manages just fine. And unlike the grace you give everyone else, this voice has no limit. It doesn't run out. It doesn't soften after a few hours. It just keeps going. Think about the last time you made a mistake. Not a catastrophic one. Not something that truly hurt someone. Just a normal, human, everyone does this eventually kind of mistake. How long did you carry it? Hours? Days? Did you replay it in the in-between moments? In the shower? Right before sleep? In the middle of a completely unrelated conversation? When it suddenly surfaced again and ruined your mood for no reason? Did you find yourself still apologizing for it long after everyone else had completely forgotten it existed? Did you bring it up again yourself, unprompted, just to make sure the other person knew you still felt bad? Did you let it quietly become one more piece of evidence against yourself? Now think about the last time a friend made that exact same mistake. How long did you hold it against them? You probably don't even remember. You probably told them it was fine before they even finished apologizing. That gap, that distance between how quickly you release others and how long you keep yourself on the hook, it's not you having high standards. It's not conscientiousness. It's not being responsible. It's a double standard so deeply built in that it stopped feeling like a choice a long time ago. It just feels like the truth, like simply knowing yourself accurately. But it isn't accurate. It's a habit, and habits can be unlearned. Here's what makes it harder. You've gotten very good at hiding this from the outside. You show up. You follow through. You're the reliable one. The one people call when things need to get done, when someone needs to be heard, when the situation calls for someone steady. Nobody sees the internal audit running in the background. The constant low-level accounting of every mistake made, every opportunity missed, every moment you weren't quite enough. The ongoing trial where you are always both the defendant and the judge. The scorecard you've been keeping on yourself for years that nobody around you even knows exists. And somehow, no matter what you do, no matter how much you improve, how much you grow, how many things you get right, that score never feels like enough. Here's a question worth sitting with. Where did you learn this? Because you were not born doing this. Somewhere, something or someone taught you that your mistakes cost more than other people's, that your failures needed more explaining, that your shortcomings were less forgivable, that you had to justify your place in rooms where other people just walked in. Maybe it was direct. Maybe it was someone whose approval felt conditional, someone who made love feel like something you had to earn and could always lose. Maybe it was subtle, a pattern so quiet and consistent that it just became the water you swam in. Maybe nobody intended to teach you this, but somewhere along the way, you absorbed it anyway. The idea that grace flows outward, freely, generously, without condition, and comes back inward only once you've fully earned it. And so you became two people. The one who sits with a friend and says you're only human, please don't be so hard on yourself, and means every single word. And the one who lies awake at 2 a.m. still building a case against themselves for something that happened on a Tuesday 3 weeks ago. The one who gives grace like it costs nothing, because for other people, it genuinely doesn't. And the one who hoards it from themselves like there isn't enough to go around. And here's the hard truth. The internal harshness you've normalized, the voice you've learned to call discipline or high standards or not making excuses, it isn't making you better. It's making everything harder. You cannot think clearly from inside a courtroom where you are always on trial. You cannot actually learn from a mistake when every mistake becomes a referendum on your worth as a person. You cannot move forward when half your energy is still being spent relitigating cases that everyone else closed a long time ago. Guilt without grace doesn't build you. It just quietly breaks you down. Slowly enough that you don't notice until you're already exhausted. And exhausted people don't grow. They just survive. They push through the day, check the boxes, hold it together on the outside, while something inside them gets a little smaller every time that voice says, "Not good enough," and they believe it again. That's the real cost of this. Not one bad day, Not one mistake you can't shake. It's the accumulation. Years of prosecuting yourself for being human. Years of setting a standard that moves further away every time you get close to it. Years of running a race where the finish line keeps shifting. And somehow, every time, the voice finds a reason to tell you that you still haven't arrived. You were never going to win that race. Not because you weren't trying hard enough, because it was never designed to be won. And here's what nobody tells you about living like this for long enough. You stop celebrating things, not because good things stop happening, because the voice gets there first. You finish something hard, something that genuinely took effort, that a year ago you weren't sure you could do. And before you've even caught your breath, the audit begins. What could have been better? What took too long? What someone else would have done differently? The moment passes before you were even in it. And slowly, quietly, your wins start feeling like just the next thing you were supposed to do anyway. Not an arrival, just the temporary absence of another failure. That's not high standards. That's a life where nothing ever feels like enough, because the voice that grades everything has never once given you full marks. The people around you see it. The ones who love you watch you extend patience to strangers, to people who deserve it far less than you ever gave them, and then turn around and speak to yourself in a way they would never let someone else speak to you. They don't always know how to say it, but they notice. They notice when you brush off a compliment before it fully lands. They notice when you follow "I did well today" with "but I could have done better." They notice the way you carry things long after the moment has passed. The quiet weight of it in the way you go a little still when a memory surfaces unexpectedly. And sometimes they want to shake you, gently, lovingly, and say, "Do you hear yourself? Do you have any idea how hard you are on yourself? Do you know that the version of you standing right here, right now, is someone worth being proud of?" But they don't always find the words, or the moment, or the courage to say something you might deflect anyway. So they watch, and they wish. And they wish you could see yourself the way they see you, not as someone who needs to be constantly corrected and improved, but as someone who is already more than enough, still growing, still trying, still showing up, and genuinely worthy of a little softness.